The Millionaire and the Maid, an impossible story. Leandro was an athletic man with striking features, with a face that seemed sculpted to perfection. He had green eyes that shone like emeralds and a captivating smile that won over everyone around him. The son of a renowned businessman and a famous socialite, Leandro was always surrounded by luxury and glamour. He was impeccably dressed, with tailored suits that highlighted his elegance and sophistication. Owner of several million-dollar companies, Leandro was known for his innate business skills. He had inherited his father's leadership and strategic vision, transforming the family empire into a money-making machine. His investments ranged from cutting-edge technology to high-end real estate developments. In addition, his presence was requested at gala events, exclusive parties, and important business meetings, where he always stood out. Despite all his success and wealth, Leandro carried a hidden sadness in his heart. He was never sure if the people around him were with him for who he was or for what he had. This constant doubt fueled his fear of giving in to love, especially due to the unfaithful behavior of his father, who always cheated on his mother without any remorse. Fernanda was a strong-willed and ambitious woman who dreamed of conquering the world from a young age. The daughter of a traditional family, she always believed that she was destined for great things. When she met Leandro, she saw in him the opportunity to achieve her goals. Fernanda was stunning, with long, black hair that cascaded over her shoulders and deep brown eyes that seemed to read people's souls. She knew how to use her charm to get what she wanted and always appeared confident and determined. Fernanda and Leandro were the perfect couple in the eyes of society, and many saw her as the ideal partner to maintain and expand the family business. Leandro, although enchanted by Fernanda's beauty and charisma, had doubts about their relationship. He realized that she was more interested in the status and advantages that marriage could bring than in a genuine relationship. These doubts ate away at him, but he didn't know how to deal with them, afraid of opening up and getting hurt. In a neighborhood far from the city, where the houses were made of wood and the streets were dirt, there lived a young woman named Kelly. She had light brown hair that shone in the sun and blue eyes that reminded her of the sky on a clear day. Kelly lived with her mother, Christina, a hard-working woman with a generous heart, and her younger brother, Artur, a boy full of energy and curiosity. Their life was simple, but full of love and togetherness. Kelly helped her mother with the housework and took care of Artur with dedication. Tragedy knocked on the family's door when Kelly's father died trying to save her pet from a fire that consumed the small house where they lived. This devastating event left a deep impression on Kelly, but it also strengthened the family bonds, making them support each other. After the tragedy, Christina got a job as a maid in a luxurious mansion, where the walls were adorned with works of art and the gardens were impeccably maintained. The owner of the house, a kind woman named Donna Maria, also offered Kelly a job as a helper, and so the family moved into the mansion. The move was a great shock for Kelly and Artur. Leaving the neighborhood where they grew up and the friends they had made was painful. Life in the mansion was completely different. The rooms were spacious and luxurious, the furniture elegant and the gardens seemed like something out of a fairy tale. Christina and Kelly began their new roles with dedication, and soon stood out for their impeccable work. Kelly, with her natural beauty and strong character, won the affection of the other employees and even her bosses. She was efficient, polite, and always willing to help. Artur, on the other hand, loved exploring the gardens and playing with the other employees' children, trying to adapt to the new environment. One sunny morning, Leandro was in a business meeting in the garden of the mansion. The place was impeccably decorated with flowers of various colors and scents, creating a cozy and sophisticated atmosphere. In the middle of the meeting, Leandro spotted Kelly picking grapes in the orchard. She was wearing a simple dress that highlighted her natural beauty and was distracted, focused on the task at hand. The sight of Kelly, with her simplicity and grace, contrasted sharply with the artificial and superficial world in which Leandro lived. Unable to look away, he continued to observe her, intrigued by the aura of serenity she exuded. When one of the men in the meeting made a derogatory comment about the local workers, Kelly, unaware that Leandro was the owner of the house, interrupted the conversation to defend the employees. With a firm voice and determined eyes, Kelly expressed her indignation, showing a courage that impressed Leandro. He then intervened, supporting Kelly and silencing the arrogant man. Kelly looked at Leandro with a mixture of surprise and admiration, silently thanking him for his support. After the meeting, Leandro realized that his car was having problems and decided to take advantage of the time to get to know Kelly better. He invited her for a walk to her neighborhood, and she hesitantly accepted. They walked together through the narrow, busy streets, where children played and people chatted on the sidewalks. Kelly showed Leandro the places of her childhood, sharing stories and memories that shaped her as a person. As they walked, they passed a small square where there was live music. Kelly spontaneously pulled Leandro to dance. They moved to the music, laughing and having fun, forgetting for a moment the differences between their worlds. The connection between them grew with each passing minute, and Leandro found himself more enchanted than ever. During the walk, Leandro opened his heart and talked about his own challenges and insecurities. He told Kelly about his fear of being loved only for his money and status, and how this prevented him from giving himself fully to love. Kelly, in turn, shared her sadness over the loss of her father and how living a simple but loving life taught her to value what really matters. After the magical night, Leandro returned home with a divided heart. He couldn't stop thinking about Kelly and the deep connection he felt with her. At the same time, he knew that facing his family's prejudices and expectations would be an immense challenge. He was engaged to Fernanda, and breaking off this engagement would have severe consequences for both him and Kelly. Leandro spent hours in his office, looking out the window and pondering his options. He knew that his family and the business world would not accept his relationship with Kelly easily. But the idea of living a life without true love, with Fernanda, seemed increasingly unbearable. He found himself caught between duty and desire, unsure of which path to follow. Kelly, on the other hand, was equally confused. She felt a strong attraction to Leandro, but feared the complications of getting involved with someone from a world so different from her own. To protect her heart and her family, Kelly decided not to give Leandro her phone number, hoping that the distance would help clarify her feelings. However, the memory of that special night remained vivid in her mind, making her wonder if she was making the right decision. The next day, Fernanda arrived at the mansion with her bags and a determined attitude to stay for good. Her domineering and demanding presence brought a palpable tension to the house. She was determined to reinforce her role in Leandro's life and show everyone that she was the future mistress of the mansion. Fernanda began to make changes in the house, imposing her will and demanding that all the employees adapt to her orders. Her authoritarian and dismissive attitude created an oppressive and unpleasant environment. She did not hide her contempt for Kelly and Christina, treating them coldly and disdainfully. Leandro felt even more pressured. He tried to avoid confrontation, but he knew he could not continue to ignore the situation. His feelings for Kelly were growing stronger and stronger, and he knew he had to make a decision. Fernanda, in turn, felt the growing distance between her and Leandro, which made her even more determined to keep him under her control. Kelly was devastated when she discovered that Leandro was her boss and, even worse, engaged to another woman. She felt betrayed and disrespected, believing that Leandro was just playing with her feelings. Christina, her mother, advised her to stay calm and apologize to avoid further problems, but Kelly was deeply hurt and didn't know if she could follow this advice. Kelly avoided Leandro as much as she could, focusing on her work and trying to forget the night they spent together. However, the pain of disappointment and the feeling of betrayal tormented her constantly. She couldn't understand why Leandro hadn't been honest from the beginning. To her, it seemed like he was just playing with her feelings, using her as a distraction. During Fernanda's birthday party, the mansion was filled with elegant guests, loud music and a table full of sweets and fine food. Arthur, a curious boy enchanted by all the luxury around him, couldn't resist the temptation to take a sweet from the table. Fernanda, upon seeing him, became furious. With a loud and cutting voice, she humiliated Arthur in front of all the guests, saying that he had no right to touch the food intended for important guests. Arthur's eyes filled with tears, and he was paralyzed with shame and fear. Kelly, upon seeing her brother being mistreated, could not remain silent. She vehemently confronted Fernanda, defending Arthur and demanding respect. Kelly's courage and the intensity of her words silenced the party for a moment. The guests were shocked by the scene, but many admired Kelly's bravery. Fernanda, on the other hand, became even more irritated, feeling challenged and humiliated. After the party, Leandro tried to find Kelly to explain himself. He knew he owed her a sincere and honest explanation. He found her in the garden, where she was sitting, lost in thought. Leandro approached her slowly, trying not to scare her. Kelly, upon noticing his presence, turned around with a look of mixed pain and anger. Leandro, with his heart in his mouth, began to speak. He explained the entire situation, telling her about his doubts and fears, and how he was torn between duty and desire. He spoke about his true feelings for her and how the night they spent together changed his perspective on life. Kelly, still hurt, listened attentively, but her heart was torn between pain and attraction for Leandro. The conversation was intense and emotional. Leandro begged for a chance to prove that his feelings were sincere. Kelly, although reluctant, realized the sincerity in his words and decided to give him one last chance. They agreed to meet again, away from the critical eyes and outside pressures, to try to better understand their feelings. Fernanda, realizing that Leandro was distant and preoccupied, made several demands in an attempt to save the relationship. She wanted control over the business and blamed Leandro for the end of the engagement, claiming that he was being influenced by Kelly. The confrontation was tense, and Leandro realized that he could not continue living a lie. Fernanda used every means at her disposal to manipulate Leandro, trying to convince him that she was the best choice for him and the family business. She threatened to expose secrets and create scandals that could harm his and the family's reputation. Leandro, however, was determined. He knew he had to be honest with himself and follow his heart. During a heated argument, Leandro finally revealed his true feelings. He admitted that he could not continue his engagement with Fernanda because he was in love with Kelly. Fernanda, furious and hurt, left the mansion, promising revenge. Leandro's decision brought immediate relief, but he knew that the consequences would not be easy to face. Leandro, determined to follow his heart, ended his engagement with Fernanda. He knew he had to do it in person, so he arranged to meet her at an elegant restaurant in the city. Fernanda arrived impeccably dressed, with an air of superiority and confidence, believing that Leandro would change his mind. Leandro began the conversation with sincerity, explaining his feelings and the need to be honest with her and himself. He apologized for allowing the situation to get this far, but made it clear that he could not continue the relationship. Fernanda, initially incredulous, became furious when she realized that he was firm in his decision. She stormed out of the restaurant in a huff, leaving Leandro relieved but aware of the difficulties he would face. Back at the mansion, Leandro asked Christina for permission to marry Kelly. He promised to take care of her family and treat them with the respect and dignity they deserved. Christina, initially reluctant, eventually saw Leandro's sincerity and true love for her daughter. She knew that Kelly's happiness was the most important thing and, with an open heart, gave her blessing to the couple. Christina realized that Leandro truly loved Kelly and that he was willing to face all challenges to be together. The union of Leandro and Kelly brought new hope and joy to the family. Christina, with her wisdom and life experience, helped Kelly prepare for the new role she would take on. She taught her daughter about the challenges and responsibilities of living in a world so different from what they were used to. Kelly, in turn, was willing to learn and adapt, trusting in Leandro's love and support. On a beautiful spring day, the mansion's garden was decorated for Leandro and Kelly's wedding. The ceremony was a true fairy tale, with flowers of all colors and scents, soft music and an atmosphere of joy and love. Friends and family gathered to celebrate the couple's union, and the happiness was palpable. Kelly looked stunning in a simple but elegant white dress that highlighted her natural beauty. Leandro, in an impeccable suit, could not hide his emotion as he saw his beloved walking towards him. The vows exchanged were sincere and moving, reflecting the journey they had traveled together. After the ceremony, a big party was held in the garden. The guests danced, laughed and shared unforgettable moments. Kelly and Leandro, now married, felt blessed to have found each other and were ready to face together the challenges that life had in store for them. Kelly and Leandro's new life was full of love, respect and understanding. They learned to balance their differences and value what really mattered, true love and shared happiness. With Christina's support and Artur's constant presence, the family was closer than ever, proving that, even in the most unlikely situations, love can triumph. Like and subscribe to our channel, this is very important to us. Until the next video.